Okay, very quickly, I know that this was going to be a video about blind spotting, but I'm pretty sure that I have to go to a more emotionally raw place to talk about it, and I'm honestly not ready to do that. I also have to buy the Blu-ray, and your boy is broke. Captain Marvel came out, and there are smarter people than me talking about it, so I'm just going to link to some of their words in the description. Take a look if you are looking to engage with the film a little bit more. What I found especially interesting about the film was the choice of director, or in this case, directors. This is of course not the first time that a Marvel film has been helmed by two directors. The Russos have of course been doing their thing since Captain America Winter Soldier, and not a lot of people know this, but Joss Whedon actually directed the second Avengers film by speaking almost entirely through a sock puppet named Melissa. That's not true. Anyway, when a film comes out that I connect with, especially a blockbuster, I like to go back and see how the people who made it got their start in the industry. Filmmaking is a muscle, and you're probably going to be a little bit weaker, a little bit more rusty when you're starting out. But there is of course a personality that comes with looking at a director's early work. These little moments, these little nuggets of goodness. Rusty muscle nuggets. I am so sorry. In the case of some of my favourite Marvel directors, a recurring theme in the rusty muscle nuggets seems to be this. Hey, remember when we made that poetic love letter to people trying their best to live broken lives in a world that seems to want nothing to do with them? Yeah, and it was like this lyrical, charged thing with themes of race that used space as an expression of character. Yeah, it was like a real indie darling, remember that? Okay, we still kind of do that, but also we punched a spaceship. Funny that. And yes, there will probably be a video about Fruitvale Station at some point, but for now see my earlier comments re blind spotting. So for now, let's talk about broken lives and broken places. Let's talk about... Okay, there's gonna be spoilers for this one, so go and see it, watch it, enjoy it, come back, we'll talk about it. It's more of a grown-up film, so if you need to make yourself more aware of the content within it, I recommend going to the BBFC website. Okay, Ryan Gosling is an inner-city middle school teacher with a fondness for unconventional teaching methods, coaching basketball, and doing crack cocaine. That is not where I thought that sentence was going. The film explores his struggles to maintain relationships with those around him, especially a developing friendship with a student having her own troubles outside of the classroom. Okay, that's what the film's about, so what's the film about? From where I was sitting, youth, education, opposition, and change. All stories are about change. Societal change. And of course addiction, but in a wider sense, dependency. The people and things you rely on, and the people that rely on you. On the surface, Dan is a really cool guy. He's charming, he talks to his students like they're equals, and you can see that he genuinely cares about them. But we are staying way out of gold-hearted teacher territory, because this film has some tricks up its sleeve. Let's talk about that camera for a second. Oh, you ain't never heard of a master shot before? Oh, you think you're too good for a tripod now? Oh, you're just gonna hold on that close-up then? You're still gonna hold on that close-up then? There are, of course, a lot of different ways to shoot a movie, and each one is going to come with its own benefits and setbacks, and each one is going to tell your story in fundamentally different ways. I love how this film looks. This style, with its small zooms and handheld shake, yes, it feels raw and authentic and kind of independent, but it also feels like documentary, like observation. I feel like this scene encapsulates it perfectly. Here we are with two people up close in their most personal moments, but we're watching as passengers from the backseat, and the view of these people that gives us is decidedly different. It takes a story with questionable characters and gives you a degree of distance from which to view their decisions that you probably wouldn't have in a more conventional presentation. Not only does the film pull back the curtain on saving narratives by showing us just how flawed these people are, it's willing to go one layer deeper and show us that they are still people outside of the roles that they play in each other's lives.
Nothing to do with no, it's good for Dre to have somebody like you looking out for Mr. Model A1 citizen. I don't know.
I'm supposed to do something. But what am I supposed to do?
But first, a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by people that care about you. People that care about you would like you to know that at this very moment they are hard at work living their lives, because they are people in their own right, which makes sense. However, they would like you to know that while they are hard at work eating a sandwich, talking to Sandra from accounting about how she really has to check out The Good Place, wondering where that other sock went, even though they're sure that there were two of them when they did laundry, that they still care about you, and if you ever need them, they will be there. And you should really check out The Good Place. There are charities in the description doing some very good work. It would mean a lot to me if you would give me your time, attention, money, all of those things. Thank you. Okay, let's get back into it. So we have an inner city teacher and a student tempted by a dark path. Yeah, I think I've heard this one before. I love that moment where Dre gives an impassioned speech about life on her side of the tracks. I love the moment where Dan throws away his cocaine and tells his parents he loves them. They win the basketball match and everyone hugs. But I really love waking up and realizing that I've imagined all of that stuff, because this is not that film. This is not the story of the great guy who saved the day with his book smarts and good intentions. And you can see that in the relationship between Dan and Dre in the first place. He doesn't begin this friendship with her because he sees some special spark and thinks that she can be something amazing. She catches him at his lowest, weakest moment and shows him kindness. And I truly believe that he wants the best for her, but he can't even help himself. How is he supposed to save someone else?
You're not an asshole. You're just a big baby.
I'm a big asshole baby.
Because here's the thing about Dan. He is still a boy at a time in his life and in an environment where he desperately needs to be a man. For his sake and for those around him. And the film doesn't present his struggle as righteous or as noble. In fact, we see the way that his self-destructive behavior hurts others, as that kind of behavior always does. And the film contrasts this with Dre, who is fighting an opposing battle. The world is forcing her to grow and change and learn at a rate that no child should have to go through. She is essentially given two ways to live, as a person getting hurt or a person hurting others. This is not really a story that's here to make you feel good about yourself. It doesn't seem really concerned with how you feel at all. You're in the back seat. It's your job as a viewer to make sure that you are learning from what you see. Which brings me to a half Nelson is apparently a grappling hold used in catch wrestling. It's where your opponent passes their hand under your arm and then locks it onto your neck. I would demonstrate this with a friend, but no, for many reasons. It's a hold which is most effective when you are already on the ground and losing, and is basically there to finish you off. The fact that Dre is smart enough, is mature enough, is kind enough to not only try and free herself, but to try and free someone else, that's monumental. But the film also questions whether or not it's enough, and I think that's a really important thing to do. I don't think that everything is just going to be alright now. That was a very small victory in the grand scheme of things. It takes a lot of work to fix things when they're broken. It's not like life comes with an instruction manual for reassembly. I've said it before and I'll say it again, we are all damaged people who need to learn to be more careful with each other. But in those losing moments, in the moments where it is most difficult to do so, we can still choose to see the best in people and believe that they can be better than they are. And that's an act of victory in itself.